The Pat O'Hara Show is sponsored by the River Shack Tavern, 3449 River Road in Jefferson.
Welcome to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern on River Road in Jefferson. I'm Brandon Rizzuto, your host, and joining me always is head coach Pat O'Hara. And Coach, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Coach, obviously a disappointing loss, but you have to be very, very pleased with what you saw yesterday against Philadelphia.
Well, there's no moral victories, Brandon, but it was a good start on a lot of levels. We have a lot to correct, there's no doubt. A lot of our young players, it's their first taste of an arena football game. But there's a lot we got out of the film today, and hopefully we can move on from that and get another bit of victory one of these, maybe Friday night.
And hearing back from our fans, there's a lot of positive talk about the VooDoo. I think the fans liked what they saw. Just as you know, you went to film, and you're going to correct some of those things and get that first win at home.
Well, the key is, you know, we didn't turn the ball over, which is a real positive, especially with a young team. We only had 2 penalties versus Philadelphia's 12 penalties. Those are things you can build on, and number one was we had effort. We had tremendous effort all the way to the final, bell. And we're in a position, had the ball at the end to win the game, weren't able to make that play. So those are things we can correct, and that's the good news.
Talk about your defense. I mean, coming up with some big plays to keep you guys in the game.
Well, we had some big plays. We had some busts, too. We had some mental errors there that we've got to fix again. You know, youth back there going against a very veteran team like Philadelphia. They have 9 all-arena guys that played a lot of arena football. These are things that we can learn from and move on.
You mentioned 9 all-arena guys. We had 13 rookies on the field that day, so a little bit of a miscomparison there, but well.
A little bit, but not necessarily. I mean, it was good that they had that taste. You know, that's what was important, to get that taste and to go out next week. We have a short week. We don't have much time to rest, so we're right back to work today.
Were you pleased with your fans and how much support that they showed you guys?
Yeah, they got loud. Fans got loud. We need to get more people in the stands. We need that support. That's tremendous. Home field advantage with our fans being loud. I think that helped with some of those penalties they had, jumping off sides. We've got to continue with that effort.
The VooDoo kicked off its 2012 season with a Fan Fest, its 2nd annual Fan Fest at Monogram Express. Speaking of our fans, we're going to take you out there to show you some of that action. So let's check it out.
We're out here at Monogram Express on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. I'm Nikki Landry with VooDoo 104, and we're hanging out with the New Orleans VooDoo team, and it's fun. We're having a lot of fun.
Hey, Keith Moody, Monogram Express, Metairie, Louisiana. We're the official provider of your New Orleans VooDoo arena football merchandise. We hosted the Fan Fest. We're giving away pizza, chips, drinks. There's players, VooDoo dolls, kind of reacquainting the community with the arena football scene. They're back 2012, stronger than ever. It's been a great turnout, perfect weather. We love VooDoo football. If you haven't checked out arena football, scored fun, interactive, very family friendly. Children get to interact with the VooDoo players. We're just glad the VooDoo is back.
We out here right now, Fan Fest 2012. New Orleans, we need all y'all to come on down to the arena. Support the home team, support the VooDoo.
Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. Coach, we tape here every Monday at 3 o'clock. We have some fans in the house today, but not only do we have fans here, the food is outstanding.
Red beans and rice on Mondays. I've learned about their tradition, and this is the place to come get it, I found out. So I enjoy coming here for that specifically.
We're very thankful for the owner here, Donnie Thomas, letting us have the show here, and we hope to have more fans out here next Monday at 3 o'clock. Be here. And Coach, going back to the Philadelphia game as we get further into it, just talk about your offense's progression during the game. I think that the obvious thing was start off a little rusty, but as the game went on, looked really good.
They were real rusty to start out with. You know, we started out with a conservative plan to get Kurt comfortable, to get our offense comfortable in that environment. The first half, we started a little slow. Towards the end of the half, we picked it up, and then we came out more aggressive in the second half, starting with the first play, the deep pass to Josh Bush. I think once Kurt hit that deep pass to Josh, it really set the tone for our offense, and we were able to score possession after possession, and that was huge.
Talk about Kurt Rocco, your quarterback, a second-year guy in this league, and really showed some moxie out there.
Yeah, I think he threw, one touchdown in the first half, and threw 5 more in the second, and then rushed for 1 too. So tremendous effort by Kurt. Like I said, he's a guy that as he gets comfortable and gets going, he gets better and better. And so hopefully we can build off of that and move into Friday against Milwaukee.
Talk about your running game. This is a passing league, and you had a pretty good running game there, with especially Joe Alajajian for that second effort runs.
Yeah, we weren't real sure. Joe's had a knee. He got a knee in the Jacksonville scrimmage, so we weren't sure if we were going to have him. He stepped up in our heavy package, is what we call it, and was able to rush the football real well. That was huge for us inside that 5-yard line.
Talk about other guys like L.J. Castile making a big play in the third quarter, Corey Payne making some outstanding catches as well.
They both did a good job, but they had a few mental errors. We've got to fix that. We can't have mental errors in any aspect of what we're doing offensively. Everything is based on timing and rhythm. And LJ had a couple mental busts, and we talked about that today. But they made the big plays too. So if we can iron out some of those mental mistakes and continue to make the big plays they're capable of making, we're going to be okay.
You talked about iron out some things on defense, but your defense definitely stepped up its game, especially on that last drive, got a sack, and made it a 4th and long situation.
Again, the learning curve. We got into a 4th and long situation, and we've really got to crawl up on those receivers and really threaten, either give them a touchdown and we get the ball back and be able to have time to score and win the game, or break that play up on 4th down. These are things we're teaching our young players. So it's something to learn from. It's tough to watch and to learn the hard way, but I think that's something that's teachable.
Like we said, 13 AFL rookies making their debut yesterday, or Sunday rather, in the graveyard. Just talk about your special teams as well. Obviously some woes there, but nothing that's uncorrectable.
Well, we had the effort, but we faced a guy that I faced in the playoffs last year. Jeff Hewley is probably the best returner in the league. So not only faced some of the best receivers and defensive backs and pass rushers, but the best returner. And frankly, we overran our coverage at times. We had the effort, but we overran it. We gave up a long one to Jeff. But then again, we forced a fumble on special teams, and then Greg Ellingson had some tremendous plays tackling him inside the 5. So there's something to build on, like you said, Brandon, but we've got to continue to get back to work and fix those things.
One of the main things a lot of people are noticing about this team is the effort and the heart that's there. And you mentioned Greg Ellingson's play. Just talk about how huge that was. That looked like a touchdown to the house, and Greg Ellingson came out of nowhere and made that tackle in the 4th quarter.
He had a number of plays on special teams that really caught our eyes, especially on special teams. Watching the film today, that's something that our other players need to see. And not that there's not all that effort across the board, but he stood out. He stood out on special teams. That's huge for us. That's the kind of effort we have to have if we're going to get some wins here in the future.
Coach, that team came in with the slogan, "We got this." I would rethink that maybe going forward, but VooDoo definitely showed up and played in that game.
We had, in arena football, you can kind of pick maybe 3 to 5 plays that change the game. And if we're able to make one of those 5 at certain times, then we walk away with win. We're having a different conversation right now. There are no moral victories. It was a tremendous effort, and we look forward to Friday.
Talk about just your guys lining up and matching up for that game. All week you preach to them that this team doesn't respect you because they don't know you. They don't know what you're about, and you went out there and showed them.
Well, I think so. And again, no moral victories, but the head coach and some of their players came up and they were surprised at the talent we had and the effort that we had. So we're not going to surprise anyone anymore. We're on film, and people know that we got a lot of guys that play with a lot of passion and effort.
We're here at the River Shack Tavern. Stay tuned for more of the Pat O'Hara Coaches Show coming back after this commercial break. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern in Jefferson on River Road. And Coach, we're sitting down talking about last week's game. We'll talk about next week's game moving forward. But first, a little look around the league and just look at our division. A division in the South is definitely shaping up to be another competitive one.
The Southern Division traditionally has always been one of the strongest, if not the strongest division. I think it's because proximity. There's so many athletes in the South, from Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi. So it's always been very competitive. It will continue to be that way.
Jacksonville got a win last week. Tampa Bay got a win last week. Georgia looks pretty tough. I know you don't like to look forward down the road to schedules, but just as you said, this division is shaping up to be very, very competitive.
Well, don't forget about Orlando, Brandon. That's on the
true.
schedule too. I'm looking forward to that one. But yeah, it's a difficult schedule. We get into opponent play here in a couple weeks as far as the interdivision rivals. But next week we got Milwaukee.
Looking around the league, just anything that stood out to you, wins, loss-wise in games?
It's just such a league of parity, Brandon. You just never can tell what's going to happen in this league. The ball bounces funny off the nets and off that bar. Some guys, this team just come to play one night and everything goes their way. It's a crazy game, and you just got to be ready to go each week. Take care of the ball, not turn it over, and you got a chance. Looking at active and inactive players, and Coach, we already talked about Joe Alajajian getting on the active list before the game, and what a difference he made. That was huge. We weren't sure if he was going to be ready, and we kept talking to him every day. It was a last-minute deal, activated him off of our injured list, and thankfully he was ready. Did a good job in protection and did an excellent job rushing the football in the red area. Was able to score a few touchdowns. Also, offensive lineman Trevon Williams goes to the inactive list, fighting a little injury bug. Hope to get him back soon. Yeah, it'll be 4 weeks. Got a little bit of a back issue. It's just one of those things. You deal with injuries. Everybody deals with it. You got to just move on with other players. Looking at some of your other inactive players right now, anybody that you think that you might get back soon? Well, we've got some bumps and bruises, and we have a short week. We just played Sunday. Now we have a game Friday, so we've got some bumps and bruises. We may see some different faces Friday night, but obviously we'll approach that as it occurs. A lot of people are going to ask this question this week, especially leading up to the game. Skylar Green inactive for the game. Had a little bit of a little hamstring injury. Well, he had a groin. He had a groin issue a couple days before the game. Was feeling a little bit better, but we wanted to make sure that was fully healed. It's an 18-game season. We have a lot of good receivers on the team, and Skylar needs to get a little more acquainted with what we're doing offensively also. And once that happens, I'll expect to see him back on the field. Talk about some of the other players that you have on the team, just minor bumps and bruises in the game. Moving forward, though, to Milwaukee, should be pretty healthy overall. Well, we've got a few bumps and bruises we're concerned about, and that's something Patrick Maloney, our trainer, is just, matter of fact, he just called me while we're talking, and so we'll have to get update on those injuries. Again, we just played a game, and we're assessing all that in a short week, so those will all be addressed. Can't say enough about Tulane Institute of Sports Medicine and Patrick, our athletic trainer, Patrick Maloney, does an outstanding job. He does, and he's a good Irishman from California like Coach O'Hara, so we like Patrick Maloney. I knew you couldn't wait to get that one in. Yeah. You're watching the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. I'm Brandon Rizzuto, your host. Stay tuned for more action, more voodoo action here on Cox 4. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. And like we said before, every Monday at 3 o'clock, we tape here. We could use some VooDoo fans. We have some great ones here today. Be sure to come out, and Coach, you've said it before, we have great fans and we need them here. We need the fans here. We need the fans in our building this Friday night. I mean, that is a tremendous, ninth man is what we call it, and so we need that. Mentioning this Friday night, Milwaukee Mustangs coming to town, lost their season opener at Arizona. Just talk about that, a tough-fought game, but Arizona coming off of a Arena Bowl appearance last season. What do you make out of that game? Well, a lot of people think Arizona, Philadelphia, San Jose are some of the best teams on paper in the league, and Arizona went to the Arena Bowl last year and came up short, but they're a well-coached team, and Milwaukee gave them all they could handle. They put up 65 points in Arizona, which is not easy to do. Milwaukee has a very strong offensive line, an all-arena guard, and an all-arena center. So they're traditionally, Coach Lanzi there, he coaches the offensive line, defensive line. They're always strong in the trenches, and that's where the game's won. So we're going to have to match that effort, intensity, and protect our quarterback, and get after their quarterback. That's where the game's won.
I know you're looking at some of their personnel in the game and some of the guys that they're actually bringing in. Do you care to talk about any of the guys that you foresee causing potential problems for the VooDoo on Friday night?
Well, they have an experienced quarterback. I can't really pronounce his name. Gino Guiduli, something like that.
Close enough.
Yeah, good player though. He's a good player. He's played in AF2 for a number of years. He played in Milwaukee last year. He's very comfortable, the offensive coordinator there. I played for that offensive coordinator in Milwaukee back in the day in Toronto, so there's some history there. So we're going to have to stop him. Protecting their quarterback and protecting ours and getting after his will be big.
Talk about Coach Blanding and approaching this game from a defensive side. You mentioned that right there. Just talk more about some of the problems that they may cause offensively.
Well, Coach Stout, their offensive coordinator, is experienced. He's been around for a long time, and like I said, they protect their quarterback well. They do a lot of screens, a lot of different types of screens on their offense, and they traditionally play great defense. So we've got to be sound in all three phases. It's more about us fixing what we do. We need to know what they're doing, but we need to execute what we do in all three phases. We'll be okay. I think that's really the main focus.
Looking at this game and talking about special teams, obviously some things we talked about earlier in the show, correcting that there. What about their special teams?
Well, they take pride in not only their offense, defensive line, but they always, I know playing for Coach Stout in Toronto years ago, special teams was a big factor. It changes games. It changed the game for us in our preseason game. And last night it changed the game for Philadelphia on that return. So it's about field position, and we need to continue to get better in that area. We've
talked about the offense, and we've talked about Kurt Rocco a lot. Just what are you expecting out of your offense this game moving forward? They got better as the game went on against Philadelphia. Are you expecting more out of your offense this game?
I'm hoping we can start faster, Brandon. Like I said, we started out conservative, I think, for a lot of reasons. The Philadelphia game, I think we can start out being more aggressive. We've had that first taste of the game, and now it's time to go into week 2 and really, start where we finished off. We scored on almost virtually every possession the second half last night. Now it's time to take off from there and really take care of possession after possession and come away with points. And so we need to continue along those lines.
Coach, we've talked about this before. The players know it. The fans know it. We need to end this curse in the graveyard. We need to get that win. Came close last week. What are you going to expect out of your fans this week to try and get that win?
Well, they got to show up. They got to show up. We'll be there. We care about that. Trust me, I care about it. That was tough last night to be so close and taste that against a really, really good team. Again, our guys realize it too, even though a lot of them are new. That's one of our goals, is to get that first home win. It's been a long time for this franchise, so certainly that is on our order of affairs there.
Noticing differences from last year to this year, you can definitely tell you have a lot of young men and some older guys that definitely want to be here. They want to be a part of something special in New Orleans.
Well, I think they believe too. I think they believe in each other. I think we fought through a lot of adversity last night, and I think that it's important that you have that belief. And that's something we talked about day one. It's just believing in what we're doing and believing in each other and fighting through the adversity. It's an 18-week schedule. It's a lot of games. So if we maintain that focus and we stay healthy, we're going to be okay.
Coach, thanks for your time as always. Looking forward to this Friday night at home against Milwaukee to get that first win.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks for stopping by here at the River Shack Tavern. I'm Brandon Rizzuto, your host. See you Friday night in the graveyard.